This video is all about our associated products to our ISO Boost range. We've done a separate video on the ISO Boost going into a little bit more detail about the models and the applicability to them, and the link for that video is up here. So I'm just going to really kind of move on to these associated products and how they might fit into the ecosystem on board your yacht. First product we're going to look at is our AC changeover unit. This is packaged in the same style of enclosure as the ISO Boost itself. This is specifically designed for vessels that have 2 shore cord connections and 2 generators on board, a very common configuration. So if you have these 4 available sources of power, how do you make a selection between them? Well, you could do that with manual switchgear, but clearly it's much more convenient to automate all of that, and that's exactly what our AC changeover unit does. So there's no setup on this unit, there's no configurating, it's all pre-done. And what I would like to do is just go through some scenarios of what might be available power-wise and how the unit is going to select between those and what that means for the available power on board the boat. Because we may want to use more than one source at a time, the vessel is going to be split into 2 different power groups. I will call that Bus A and Bus B. But we have 4 sources available. Let's call them port shore power, port generator, starboard shore power, starboard generator. So what I'm going to go through is effectively how we select between those and what that means to the power on board the vessel. So let's connect starboard shore power in the marina. We can now see that we've got voltage coming in on that input into our AC changeover. Then we're going to distribute that power to Bus A and Bus B. But of course now we're limited to the amount of power that we can use on board the vessel to the capacity of this single shore cord. We need more power. So we'll go out and we'll now connect the port shore power cable in the marina supply. We've now got voltage coming into the second input. And in order to take advantage of using that, we disconnect Bus B from the starboard shore power and we connect the port shore power to Bus B. So now we've got 2 shore cords in use and each shore cord is supplying its dedicated bus. In the event that we start one of our generators, so let's call it the starboard generator now starting, we get to a situation where we've got 3 power supplies available, but the only possibility to distribute it to 2 groups of circuits. So we now need to make a choice as to which 2 of the 3 power sources we're going to use. The AC changeover prioritises the generator, and the reason that we've selected to prioritise the generator is that if you've started the generator, you generally have started it because you want to use it. And usually it's a higher capacity than the shore cords. So if you're putting a lot of power on board, you can start your generator. That will then pick up the loads instead of the shore cord and provide you with that additional capability. So we'll start up our starboard generator, and what we'll see now is that we disconnect the starboard shore and connect the starboard generator instead to supply Bus A. And again, if we started the port generator, that would then take over from the port shore power capability. So if you were leaving your mooring, for instance, you might start both of the generators. The boat would now be running off the generators. You could disconnect the shore cords and you would avoid any interruption to supplies on board the vessel. The capacities of the AC changeover are 50 amps for both the shore power inputs, and on the generator, we have 50 amps for one generator and 100 amps for the second generator. So you could choose to have either a matched pair of 12 kVA generators, or you could choose to have a larger primary generator and a second, maybe night set. So whilst the unit is automatic and can be left to just operate, there are indicator lamps on the front of the unit so you can see exactly what's going on. So our second associated product is our combiner unit. And this allows you to take 2 separate shore cord supplies via 2 ISO boosts and combine them into a single supply to bring onto your boat. So whilst our AC changeover unit allows you to automatically select between various supplies, what it will do in the event that you connect 2 shore power supplies at the same time is to split your consumers on the boat into 2 distinct groups. Provided that you are able to split those consumers evenly, then this will work just fine. But it is often the case that we get a disproportionate amount of load on one cord versus the other. So whilst the AC changeover does a great job in selecting between available supplies, What it can't do is to manage the loads within the two groups of circuits on the boat. We could describe those as bus A and bus B. Commonly, these two bus groups are split into air conditioning on one bus and your other domestic circuits like galley, laundry, audio-visual onto the other bus. This can mean that you have occasions when one bus is exceptionally heavily loaded and the other one is very lightly loaded. And this can mean that you could got a risk of overloading one shore power connection whilst the other one has got loads of spare capacity. So what the combiner does is it pools the resources of both of the shore cords and provides that to the boat as a single supply, which can be split back onto those two groups of circuits and shared evenly over the two cords. So let's look at a practical example with a system that has two 12 kVA 50 amp ISO boosts, an AC changeover and two groups of circuits. One of those groups of circuits is well within the capabilities of an ISO boost, 25 amps. So we're loading it at 50%. But the other group, let's say air conditioning, is running flat sticks and it's actually pulling more than the continuous output of the ISO boost and shore cord at 60 amps. In this case, we're eventually going to see a shore power breaker trip or a over temperature on the ISO boost and the protection trip being activated on that. So if your system is difficult to split evenly across these two load groups, the risk is that you're just going to trip out one circuit breaker on the marina supply. So now all of the loads are on the one remaining shore cord, and inevitably that's going to trip shortly afterwards and give you a total blackout on the boat. So if we add an ISO boost combiner to the same system, what we can now see is that our overall 85 amps worth of load is split evenly across the two shore cords. So both are operating at 42 amps. We're nowhere near the limits of the shore power circuit breaker or the ISO boosts themselves. So another feature of the ISO boost product in combination with our combiner is that we can evenly split the load across two different capacity ISO boosts as well as two ISO boosts of the same capacity. If we use this example where we've got a 100 amp ISO boost and a 50 amp ISO boost on a vessel, once they are combined, they're both going to be loaded proportionally to one another. So in this example where we have 75 amps worth of load being loaded through an ISO boost combiner onto a 12 kVA and a 24 kVA ISO boost, you'll see that the smaller ISO boost is loaded at 25 amps, the larger one at 50 amps. So they're both operating at 50% of their capacity, and equally both of the shore cords are being run at 50% of their capacity. The simple act of plugging your boat into shore power turns out to be not quite so simple for boats that are using high levels of power, maybe being sourced from multiple sources. So the combination of the ISO boost product that manages our incoming voltage, along with our AC changeover, which provides us with a selection between available supplies, and our ISO boost combiner that then manages the load evenly over our available shore cords, meaning that these problems are managed by the system and you can enjoy your time on board. As always, if you want help and advice, please get in touch with us. I'm going to put the information on how to do that in the description below. We don't sell these products through our online store as it probably needs a little bit more technical advice and assistance, but absolutely get in touch, email or phone, and we'll be really happy to provide you with that help.